All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. Hope you guys are doing fantastic. Check it out. I've been talking about this for quite some time, and I wanted to share my experience. I recently attempted to buy a travel trailer. So I want to share all my experience. I want to share everything that I was going through my head and everything that I was thinking and all that. I'm pretty new to this, right? So I'm as new as it can be. So the first thing that I did was a ton of research. I came here to YouTube. This place is amazing because you could get a lot of information. And I started to do information or gathering information in many different things, such as some of you guys probably watching this video. What kind of truck do I need? What is the capacity of my truck? I do have a Chevy Silverado 5.3 crew cab, short bed. And again, all that stuff, I was getting into it a situation that I don't know much. So I wanted to educate myself as much as I could. And I'm going to tell you, I spent weeks and months, and I've been thinking about this for quite some time, right? So this is not something that I just decided to. This is something that I've been doing research for a long time. Now, some of you guys have RVs and things like that. Let me know what you think. Definitely put some comments down below. I want to know you guys' opinion, and I want to know what you guys got to think about this. Now, I'm a very, I guess in a way, a person that there is nothing you can sell me. So I kind of go with that mentality, right? When I go to places to buy something, I'm going with the mentality of, you know what? I'm not buying anything. Like, you really have to convince me in order for me to buy something, right? And again, I'm 40 years old. The thing about, wow, it looks so pretty, I gotta have it, is not a realistic thing to me. I got a wife. I got 3 kids. My decision will impact my family. So I'm very responsible when it comes to that, or at least I like to think so, right? So this is what I did, right? I went to the bank and I asked for a loan, right? And I know the loans tend to be higher with recreational vehicles and stuff like that. But I went to the credit union and I got approved and they gave me a check. Now, the money that I got was specifically for that amount. I did my budget. I did all my, my add up here, subtract here. What about in the future, this and that? And I came to the conclusion that I can afford this amount of money for the RV, right? So again, very, very happy. My bike is paid off and all that stuff. So again, very, very happy to do it. So when I went into the dealer, I came there with a budget, with a payment that I already knew I was able to afford, and with a specific budget that I wanted to spend, right? And nevertheless, I did a ton of research. So I went there with a list. So in my opinion, I'm like the prime candidate. I go to a dealer with a check from the bank, just ready to sign it, ready to put the VIN number, and ready to walk out. I actually got an insurance code, right? And I came there with about 2 or 3 RVs that I wanted to see. And I had them not print out, but I wrote it down in my phone. Here's the information. This is what I want to get. The reason why I tell you this, the reason why I tell you that I did my financial and all that stuff, because I want to show you how the RV dealer kind of deal with this situation. Now, again, I'm not new to buying cars. I'm not new to buying houses and things like that. I've done this many times. The salesman kind of pushed me like, well, the way you work is that way. The way you work is that way. Well, the way that works. And I'm like, brother, come on, man. I bought many houses. I bought many cars and all that stuff. So I don't really need a lecture on that. So let me show you something that I wanted to show you right here. This is an RV that I actually initially I went to see. And I thought this was a really good RV. And again, the price to me, it was okay. Now, I want you to see this. This is about $17,000. This is the 2016 Forest River, right? Gray Wolf. Has a bun house. So again, I have children. So that's fantastic, right? And again, I don't know much about prices and all that, but I done so much research that in my opinion, I thought that was a good price, right? And again, because of what's happening nowadays, everything is going crazy. But if I click here, I see this and you see it right there. And I'm going to tell you, the way that it looks right here was definitely not the way that it looked at the dealer. It was really, really deceiving. Like down here, there was some water damage right here. I think there was some back here too. Again, when you look at this picture right here, it looks really nice, but the reality was that it was not that nice at all, guys. It was a lot of damage to this RV, and it just, again, the pictures that they have right here are kind of deceiving, in my opinion. They were really nice. I mean, this RV, I'm looking at it, doesn't look new, but it looks like it's a really nice RV. That was not the reality, right? Okay, let's go out here to this picture here in the outside. And as you guys can see, it's in the jack stand right here, or not jack stand, I don't know what this is called right here in the front. But that wasn't like that when I went to see it. It was actually on the floor. And again, the presentation, it was really dirty, and it just looked really bad. Which it brings me to this point right here. Again, look, this is the dealer that I went to in Ocala. But again, the point that I'm trying to make is that I got my financial situation done, right? The check. I thought, in my opinion, that I was going to be a prime candidate. That when I showed up there with a check, people were going to be like, hey, look, this dude is already approved. This dude already has the money. This dude wants to make a deal right now, and he wants to walk out of here with an RV, right? We don't have nothing to do. We don't have much to do. We don't have this to do. We don't have that to do. The guy has a check. Let's make the deal. Well, that was not the reality. That's not what happened. I'm going to tell you a couple things that happened. First of all, I walked in. People were nice. There was popcorn. The kids were able to eat. We sat down. It took hours. We were there for a couple hours. They have this golf cars that they took you around and all that stuff, right? But the first thing that happened was that the salesman told me about this additional fees. And to me, it was one of those things that I was like, really, man? And in fact, he started by saying that, you know what? The owner of the place has to pay like $3,000 to bring the RV to the lot. And my first initial thing is like, well, I'm not paying that. I'm not paying anything for you to bring the RV to the lot. In fact, I don't care how you bring the RVs to that lot, right? When you buy a vehicle, you don't care how to bring them there. You go there to buy it, and why will you pay a fee for them to bring the RV? It doesn't even make sense to me. But he kind of retracted very quickly, and then he told me that there was a fee that was about $750, I believe, that it was for cleanup and getting the RV ready. And I'm thinking to myself, really? So does that mean that you're going to sell me something that is not ready? Does that mean that you're going to sell me something that is dirty, something that doesn't work? Doesn't make sense to me. So again, I'm like, dude, I'm not, we kind of like, hey, we ain't paying no fee. And the guy was like, kind of like, no, don't worry about it. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. We're going to work it out. Trust me, we're going to work a deal, yada, yada, yada. But again, here's the thing that I came to realize. I was watching a video here on YouTube right before I went to buy the RV on how to buy a car. And I came across this channel. I don't remember the name, but it was a dad and a son. And apparently the dad used to own a dealer, something like that. And I remember him talking about this. Hey, look, they're going to put fees up front, so then they could take it away and they could sound like they are the good guys, right? They're going to sound like they are the guys that, look, I want to give you a discount, so I'm going to take this imaginary fee. We're going to take it away. And I was thinking about that as I'm talking business with this guy. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not paying that. And in fact, when we left, one of the things that was in the table was to take away the fee. Right. And to me, it was like, come on, man. It was an imaginary fee. Right. Oh, don't worry about it. We're going to take that fee away. And, don't worry about it. It was imaginary. You were never supposed to pay that fee. So that's one thing that I didn't like. The other thing was that I was pushed a ton, like completely pushed to use the financial, system that they have, their financial bank. I mean, the guy was as pushy as you can be. And the thing about it was that I never told him a budget. I never told him the percentage that I have for my rate. Obviously, I got a check from the bank. Obviously, they gave me a percentage rate, right? That I'm going to pay interest on that money. I never told him that. And he was really interested on knowing that rate. I mean, I tell you guys, he asked me so many times that it was ridiculous. Now, I'm going to go back to the channel that I watched with the dad and the son. And the thing that they were talking about was saying, hey, give me an out the door price for the car that you're buying, right? In this case, for me, it will be an RV. I'm going to tell you, they weren't able to do that. Really, they weren't able to do that. They took me to this RV. that I show you right here. And we went to see that one. And, as I'm looking at it, I already shared the screen with you guys. I said, no, that's not good. I mean, the pictures are deceiving. It does not look good. It looks like really, really bad. And it's just not what I thought that I was going to see. And keep in mind, guys, I had to travel over an hour, I believe, something like that, to get there. So he took me to a couple of the RVs that were really in bad shape, and we end up going to new RVs, right? So now, as you guys can see, I'm at 16,999, and now I'm looking at RVs that are $30,000, and I'm thinking to myself, this is not going to happen. And the guy was, a little pushy, like, hey, we could make a deal. Just tell me what's the rate on your check. Don't worry about that. If you give me your driver's license, we're going to get you approved. Again, we could go all the way to 180 a month. Don't worry about the fees. We're going to get you taken care. And I mean, it was like a game that, to me, it was like I'm wasting my time. And here's the thing. The last thing that happened was that I looked at this RV and I said, well, you know what? It was $29,999, $30,000. And I thought to myself, the RV is pretty. It's really nice. I wonder how much is the out the door price, right? I just wanted to know. I'm going to tell you guys, they took me to this room. And when it took me to this room, the guy really wanted to connect with me, right? And obviously I'm Hispanic. So he kind of played the Hispanic card, like we are Hispanic. So, okay, got it. You're going to play that card. But, we're like brothers, If we would have been in the military, we're brothers in arm, trying to connect with you in some kind of way. But he took me into this room with my wife, and he was like, look, what I'm about to tell you, no one can hear this. Not my coworkers, not my fellow, my fellow coworker, not the people that are walking around. No one. I'm going to tell you this because, we are pretty much a family. I'm like, whoa. I don't even know this guy's first name, but okay. And then he tells me, here's what I could do for you. If you finance through us, that's not what I came there to do, right? We could do for that RV, the $30,000 one, like $6,000 down, something like that. Thousands of dollars down, 3,000 or 6,000 something, and the payments were over $300. But if you let me know the interest rate that you have in your check, I'm sure we could work it out. And at that point, I was like, look, man, I'm gonna just be as clear as I can be. There is no way that you sell me anything today. That's what I say. I mean, you're not going to sell me anything. And if I even think about buying the RV, I won't do it because I don't do things out of impulse. I don't just spend $30,000 out of impulse. I go home, I think about it, I sit on it for a couple weeks or a week at least, and I really debate. I check my finances to make sure that I can afford it. I really don't do things like that. I don't really go to places and I go like, look at that pretty motorcycle. I have to buy it. I cannot do that just like many of you guys because you guys know we are family men. Our action would affect our children, right? And I was just telling my kid this today. I said, when you buy things that you cannot afford, they become a curse. They really do, guys. Because now something that you want to enjoy, for example, a motorcycle, you cannot enjoy because you're stressing out about your payments, right? So again, I'm like, I'm not buying anything, man. But nevertheless, give me an out the door price. And if you give me an out the door price, I may consider. I really want to know how much was the out the door price. I'm going to tell you, another game was like, well, we're going to get you the better price because the general manager's walking around. Come on, man. You don't have to pay the fees, though. 1,000 something to bring the RV there and the 700 and something to prepare the RV. You don't have to pay that fee. And I kept saying, well, what is the out the door price? He walked out. He came back in with a guy that looked like my kid, really young guy, to try to explain me how the financial things work. I'm like, okay. And then finally, he told me that maybe with good credit, he could have done that RV for 29 with okay credit, maybe in the 30 plus. And I was like, that's not an out the door price. Because I asked, if I want to buy this now with money, how much is it going to be? Again, they push me completely to use the financial situation or the financial companies. They really pushed me to buy something that I wasn't looking for. And they really wanted to know what was the percentage rate in my check and the budget. It was something that they really asked me. Thanks God I watched that guy channel and they say, never say none of the things that you have. I stayed very quiet. I was pretty much in business. I said, look, this is what I want to watch. I want to see. I want an out the door price. And I was hoping to get a price so I could write the check and go home, right? So my first experience buying a travel trailer was just horrible. Really horrible. I spent 4 hours playing games, and you know what? I walked out and left because I just didn't like what was going on. So, again, some of you guys have bought travel trailers. Please let me know down in the comment section how yours went. Was it a good idea that I went to the credit union and I got a check before going there? Was that a bad idea? Should I go through the financial groups that they use? Have you done that? I don't know. Let me know down in the comment section below. I know that I'm going to buy an RV. Again, that was a bad experience, but I will continue to look and hopefully I find one around that price that I show you at the beginning of the video that I can afford with no issues, and then me and my family could have a good time. Because I tell you what, you could buy an RV that is really expensive, but if you don't have more income at the end of the month to take that RV to a campground and enjoy your life, what do you got an RV for? Just to be parked outside your house? It doesn't make sense. Let me know what you think. Put comments down below. And as always, God is in control.